Hello, my name is Rebecca and welcome to my YouTube channel Crafting with Rebecca. This is where I'll be sharing my love of crafts, mainly focusing on cross stitch, but there will also be some sashiko, embroidery, patchwork, paper craft, and whatever new crafts I might discover. A little bit about me before showing you my latest projects. My husband and I live halfway between the Brisbane and the Gold Coast, near Tamborine Mountain in Queensland, Australia. And we have our two kitty cats here with us, one of whom is sitting behind me on the couch. I must make sure I don't squish him. I've been stitching since I was about 14 when my mum and I went to a cross stitch class. I just loved it and it's become my first love of craft. I'll share with you later a few of my first projects. So when I was getting ready for this video, I was looking at the projects that I've done, and I have to say I seem to like houses, floral gardens and big projects. I've got a big one to show you in the next few weeks. You'll just love it. I discovered Flosstube about 18 months ago and also joined some global Facebook groups about cross stitch at the same time, and that led to me discovering lots of new projects. Prior to this, I'd mainly just bought my patterns and kits from the Fox collection and at craft shows. I was also a single project stitcher, although I did do sashiko, other embroidery projects and diamond painting at the same time, but it was always just the one cross stitch. I also used paper patterns and I never marked them off. Somehow I knew what I'd done. Then I discovered Flosstube and all of that's just gone out the window. Now I only want to stitch using markup RXP and by PDF patterns, and I have more than one project on the go. I was also inspired by Lindsay at Stitching Magic 111 and Catkin and Lily to give Flosstube a try. So it all started with the bunnies. I was working on my first linen project, which was a Christmas stocking from Heaven and Earth Designs, and I was struggling. Then I saw the most adorable bunny pattern on Facebook and I had to have it, and I couldn't wait to start. I couldn't wait to the end of this stocking because that was going to take forever. So I dived in and it was such a fun pattern to stitch. It did come out a bit bigger than I expected, but I don't care. So let me show you. Aren't the bunnies just adorable? I'll just let you have a close look so you can see there's girl bunnies and boy bunnies. Isn't it just nice? It's called Easter Elegant Bunnies by Stitch Icon. I stitched it on 14 count Aida from my stash, and I started it on the 24th of February 2024 and I finished it on the 18th of August 24, and there were 27,758 stitches. And I have to say, I've become addicted to my cross stitch stats. I'll add a link to the pattern on Etsy below. So my plan with my channel is to share with you my progress on my whips every couple of weeks. But seeing as I only have about 3 or 4 at this stage, that's not going to take very long. So I thought I would share with you some of the projects that I've done in the past, because I have been stitching for over 30 years. But first, let me show you what I've currently been working on. Just this morning, I finished the Secret Garden Sale by the Historical Sampler Company. I really enjoyed stitching this one. Let me show you. Isn't it just lovely? I really love all the little animals at the bottom. Let me bring it in closer for you. Stitched it on 16 count Aida, which I bought from All Threads, which is a shop near Brisbane. I think it's Rustico, but I forgot to check. And I used all the called for DMC threads. I started it on the 17th of April and I finished it on the, I've forgotten what today is. I started it on the 14th of April and I finished it on the 31st of May with 7,135 stitches. I think I might make this one into a cushion, but I'm not sure I want it to get sat on, so we'll see about that. I'm going to give it a wash and a proper iron later on today. My next project is also a stitch along. I'm doing the 52-week free sale with Peppermint Purple, which is a black work project. I discovered them last year thanks to Facebook, and I just love all their designs. I did do the Peppermint Purple Christmas bauble, so I was keen to start the 52-week sale. I have to say I love doing these. I wait anxiously each week for the next piece to be released, and I may have joined the Peppermint Purple Club so that I could get them earlier. I try to stitch it straight away, although sometimes my shift work gets in the way of that, but I do it as soon as possible. I didn't want to stitch just the traditional black stitching with the white Ada, so I decided to go with a hand-dyed blue. I can't remember where I got it from. So here's where I am so far. I also used DMC blue with 312 as my stitching. So I started it by stitching all the outlines in just a sewing thread for all the squares and worked my way out to the border. I also numbered them all. I purchased the doily layout because I really liked that one, and I stitched that first before all the weekly stitching came out. And it was a very exciting moment when I reached all the way around the doily and it matched. I told my husband and he's like, that's great. But he doesn't understand what it means when you stitch such a big piece and they meet. So I know that you as my cross-stitch friends will certainly appreciate that. So I'm up to week 22, which was at the side down here, and I'm all ready for week. My next project is a dimensions kit. Now, I love Christmas, so you'd have thought I would have cross-stitched a stocking by now. But I hadn't found one that I liked enough to stitch. Well, I've got into the Christmas red truck in the last couple of years, so when I saw this one, I knew it was for me. So here's a picture of the finished stocking. And here's where I am so far. I always start in the middle. I've tried starting at the side, doesn't work for me. So I started in the middle and I've worked my way down the bottom half. I also did the toe, and I've done all the back stitch around the toe. I did that so I didn't have to move the hoop back there again, but once I moved the hoop and I started stitching the top half, I realised I'd forgotten to do all the French knots in that corner. So I guess we'll be moving the hoop back down there. So far I've done 10,157 stitches. I can't tell you the total, as I had to import it into Markup RSP as a photo, and it's had some issues recognising all the stitches, but I can still enlarge it, which is a bonus, and I can mark it off. It's not perfect, but it's working so far for me. My next whip is a small one that I started this week. I'm a member of the Embroiderers Guild of Queensland at the Southport branch. We meet every Monday at the Guild House, and I go as often as I can with my mum, depending on my work schedule. This week we had a workshop with Nikki Turvo of Nikki Turvo Designs, and we got to stitch a mini mandala using Cosmos threads. I chose Mini Mandala L and Cosmos thread 8066. I'm really enjoying stitching it, and I may have bought another one. So here's where we are so far. So hopefully you can see that. Can you? The Cosmos thread that I purchased is a variegated thread in shades of purple. It's a little bit hard to see the differences, but it's looking lovely so far, and I hope to get that finished before my next video. My final whip is one that I bought after I was influenced by a couple of Flosstubers, Adelaide from Adelaide Stitches and Ro from Ro's Crafty Corner. It's 324 by Works by ABC. Adelaide was doing hers as a daily stitch, but I think she's fallen off that wagon at the moment. As you may have guessed from the name, it has 324 DMC colours. And it features 5 by 5 squares of stitches alternating with a motif. I decided to make this my weekend stitch and do a row every weekend. I do shift work and do night shifts occasionally on weekends, so that sometimes messes with my stitching program, but I allowed myself to catch up on either the Friday before and the Monday afterwards. So let me show it to you. I think I've got it the right way up. I think. So here we are. It's looking very lovely. I just love all the colours on it. I actually only have 2 rows to go, so I'm keen to get stitching on it this weekend. I actually really want to blast it out, but I also just want to wait too, because it's only going to be next weekend, so I think we can manage. I think it's on 18 count Aida, white Aida from my stash, and of course it's got all the DMC threads. I started it on the 2nd of February and I've done 13,032 stitches at 88.35%. I'm not sure if I'll get this framed professionally, which is what I normally do, but I'm not sure how else to finish it. If you've got any ideas, let me know in the comments below. My plan is to finish 324 and then I'll be starting the next Christmas stocking, which I was influenced to purchase by Becca is Stitching Flosstube. It's Cranberry Row by Rosewood Manor. I thought this pattern was nice, and then I saw Becca's finished stocking and I just loved it. So I had my first visit to All Threads with my stitchy friend Rachel, and I bought a sparkly Aida and all the beads for it. There are so many beads. I have done some beading in the past, but that was a long time ago. I also need to get some thread for the beading, which I'm not sure what sort to get at this stage, but the beading will be done last, so there's not quite a rush yet. But now that I'm getting close to stitching, I should probably check that I've got the threads. You may have noticed that I don't have the linen Christmas stocking I mentioned earlier as a whip. I'd done over 20% of it, but I wasn't picking it up to do as I was really struggling with it. It's the first time I've used linen. I was using a 25 count and I was doing 1/1. It was very tiny. I was doing tent stitch, which I enjoyed doing, but it was a heaven and earth design, and you know those ones have lots of confetti. I think this was the wrong piece to start trying out linen. So I decided I would call it quits and start again on Aida. So I've bought some gridded 20 count Aida, and I will start it again eventually. Being as I don't have many whips on the go, I thought I would also share some of the projects that I've finished over the years. I mentioned earlier that my first project was done at a class. Well, here it is looking a little bit worse for wear. It was a bookmark that we completed. You can see my name's almost rubbed off. So it has been in many books over the years because I do love to read. You can't quite tell, but at the bottom it was done in 1988. I don't know what count it is. I don't know what the design is, but I loved making it and it put me down the cross-stitch rabbit hole. I can't really remember what I did next, but I thought I would share with you another favourite piece that I've done. This is my first and only fancy lady, and she is Queen Anne's lace from Lavender and Lace. Let me show you. Isn't she just stunning? Here she is in full, and I'll just bring her up close. I can remember using the sparkly thread that is in her skirt was absolutely horrible. That is not something I really wish to do again. And this is the only other piece that has a lot of beads on it. But isn't she lovely? And isn't the frame beautiful? Since I've been enabled by Flosstube, I've been buying more cross-stitch supplies than normal, but I don't really have a lot of stash to share. Showing you the extra DMC threads I often have to buy isn't the most exciting, although my stash of PDF patterns is growing very quickly. I did, however, recently purchase a pattern and buttons from the US, which I never do, and I then had to wait a month for it to come, but it did arrive. I saw the chalk to square design by Hands On Designs on Nicole Spore's Flosstube, and I loved it, and I ordered it straight away. Let me show you. So this is the middle piece of it, and then it will be a layout like this, and I will also add an image just here for you to see. So I'm really looking forward to stitching this. I bought a piece of 16 count Zygarde navy blue Ada, and it's my first time using dark fabric, and I got that from Crafty Threads. And I also am using the cord ball threads from Gentle Arts from Stitch in Time. These are just so pretty. Don't they just look lovely? Hey. There's an awful lot of white in there. I had to get 6 skeins. So isn't this just lovely? The pattern for the border is so tiny. And it's not importing into markup at this stage, but I'm going to keep having a fiddle with that. My plan is to stitch the center design, this part, and then stitch the outer pieces there and work my way out to the bigger border around the edge. And then I think I'll reward myself with the easier months to finish off, because they're only small. This is January, so you can see that's rather tiny. And here's a quick flip of the pattern, but it's really tiny. So I don't think that those will take very long. I think that's about all for now. Please leave a comment and let me know which of my whips is your favourite. Please like and subscribe to my channel so that you can keep up to date with my stitching. Thank you so much for joining me today, and happy stitching.